Welcome to Zenlight 8, where we uncover the truths that set you free. Imagine this. Someone didn't just stumble into hurting you, they chose it. Coldly, deliberately, and now they're knocking on your door for a second chance. But here's the question that could change everything. Why would you let them back in to break you again? Today, we're diving deep into the difference between mistakes and intentional harm, the power of walking away, and why protecting your peace is the ultimate act of strength. If you're ready to reclaim your worth and rewrite your story, hit that subscribe button and let's get started. The damage done, mistakes versus intentional harm. There's a moment in life, a quiet, piercing moment, when you realize the difference between a stumble and a strike. It's the moment you stop making excuses for someone else's actions and see them for what they truly are. Not every hurt is the same. Not every wound comes from the same place. Some are accidents, slips of the tongue, missteps born from distraction or ignorance. Others, they're deliberate, calculated, meant to cut deep. And understanding that difference isn't just a revelation. It's the key to protecting your peace, your trust, and the very core of who you are. Today, we're peeling back the layers of this truth. Mistakes are unintentional and forgivable, but intentional harm is a choice. A weapon aimed at your soul, designed to shatter your faith in yourself and others. Let's dive in and explore why this distinction matters, how it shapes the scars we carry, and why recognizing it is the first step toward reclaiming your strength. The nature of mistakes, a human flaw. Mistakes are messy. They're human. They are the spilled coffee on a rushed morning, the forgotten promise in the chaos of a busy day, the careless word that slips out before you can catch it. Mistakes come from a place of imperfection, not malice. They're unplanned, uncalculated, and often wrapped in a quiet regret that you can feel in the air. When someone makes a mistake that hurts you, there's a softness to it, a crack in their armor that reveals they didn't mean to wound. Maybe they didn't see you standing there. Maybe they didn't know the weight of their words or the fragility of the moment. And in that softness, there's room for understanding, for growth, for forgiveness. Think about it. A friend forgets to call when you needed them most. A partner snaps at you after a long day, their exhaustion spilling over into sharp edges they didn't intend. These are moments of weakness, not wickedness. They're stumbles on the uneven road of being human. And when the dust settles, there's often an apology, a reaching out, a genuine attempt to mend what was broken. Mistakes carry the possibility of repair because they don't come from a place of intent. They're not rooted in a desire to see you bleed. They're the accidental chips on the edge of a fragile glass. Unsightly, yes, but not irreparable. That's what makes mistakes forgivable. They leave space for accountability without tearing down the foundation of trust entirely. They're teachable moments for the one who erred and for you, the one who felt the sting. You can look at a mistake and say, "This hurt, but I see where it came from. I see the humanity in it." And in that seeing, there's power. Power to let go, to heal, to move forward together or apart, knowing the hurt wasn't the point. It was just the byproduct. The weight of intentional harm, a calculated choice. But then there's the other side, the darker side, the side that doesn't stumble, it strikes. Intentional harm isn't a mistake dressed up in regret. It's a choice. A cold, deliberate decision to aim for your heart and pull the trigger. It's not the heat of the moment or the blur of confusion. It's the steady hand of someone who knows exactly what they're doing and does it anyway. This isn't the friend who forgot to call. This is the friend who spread your secrets to wound you. This isn't the partner who snapped in frustration. This is the partner who lied, cheated, or belittled you with eyes wide open, fully aware of the damage they'd leave behind. Intentional harm doesn't apologize with sincerity. It justifies. It doesn't falter with remorse, it doubles down. It's premeditated, a plan set in motion not by accident but by design. And that's what makes it so devastating. It's not just the act itself, the betrayal, the cruelty, the manipulation. It's the realization that it was meant to happen. You weren't collateral damage in someone's bad day. You were the target. The hurt wasn't a side effect, it was the goal. Picture trust as that fragile glass again. A mistake might chip it, leave a small mark you can smooth over with time and care. But intentional harm? It doesn't chip, it shatters. It takes that glass and slams it against the ground, leaving shards scattered at your feet. And those shards don't just sit there, they cut. They pierce deeper than the surface, slicing into the places where you once felt safe, valued, whole. Intentional harm doesn't just wound in the moment. It lingers, echoing through your thoughts, your relationships, your sense of self long after the blow was struck. The ripple effects beyond the moment. The damage of intentional harm isn't contained in the act itself. It's not a single event you can box up and set aside. It's a ripple, a wave that spreads outward, touching everything in its path. It's the betrayal that keeps you awake at night, replaying the moment you realized they meant to hurt you. It's the trust that crumbles not just with them, but with everyone else who comes after. It's the quiet voice in your head that whispers, "Did I deserve this? Could I have stopped it? Am I enough?" That's the true cost. Intentional harm doesn't just take away your peace in the moment. It steals your sense of security. It erodes the foundation you stand on, leaving cracks where certainty used to be. You start to second-guess yourself. Did you miss the signs? Were you too naive, too trusting, too open? The doubt creeps in, insidious and unrelenting, planting seeds of uncertainty that grow into walls. Walls around your heart, your hope, your willingness to let anyone close again. And it's not just about you and them anymore. It's about the aftermath. The way you hesitate before sharing a piece of yourself with someone new. The way you brace for the worst even when everything feels right. Intentional harm doesn't just scar the relationship it came from. It scars you. It changes how you move through the world, how you see others, how you see yourself. That's the weight of it. That's the depth of the damage. It's not a fleeting pain. It's a fracture in the lens through which you view your life. Why the distinction matters. So why does this difference, mistakes versus intentional harm, matter so much? Because it's the line between what you can carry and what you need to set down. Mistakes, with their human frailty, offer a path forward. They're bridges that can be rebuilt with effort, understanding, and time. Intentional harm is a wall, a barrier that demands you stop, look at it, and decide what it means for you. Recognizing this distinction is about more than labeling what happened. It's about protecting what's left. It's about seeing the truth of the hurt so you can respond to it with clarity. A mistake might deserve your forgiveness because it holds the promise of growth, a lesson learned, a bond repaired. Intentional harm demands something else entirely. It demands accountability not just from them but from you. Accountability to yourself, to your peace, to the parts of you that deserve to feel safe and whole. When you blur that line, when you treat intentional harm like a mistake, you risk dismissing the reality of what was done. You risk brushing aside the cold calculation, the choice they made to wound you, and calling it an accident. But it wasn't. It was deliberate. And that deliberateness changes everything. It's not your job to fix it, to soften it, to make it okay. It's your job to see it for what it is and decide what it means for your life moving forward. The power of seeing clearly. Here's where your strength comes in. Seeing the difference between a mistake and intentional harm isn't just an intellectual exercise. It's an act of courage. It's standing face to face with the truth and refusing to look away. It's saying, "This wasn't a slip. This wasn't an oversight. This was a choice, and I won't pretend it wasn't." That clarity is your shield. It's the armor that protects you from falling back into the trap of excuses, from letting someone who hurt you intentionally convince you it was less than it was. Because they'll try. People who harm with intent often cloak their actions in half-truths. "I didn't mean it like that. You're overreacting. It wasn't that bad." But you know better. You felt the weight of it. You saw the look in their eyes, the precision in their words, the absence of real regret. And when you see it, when you name it for what it is, you take back the power they tried to steal. You stop letting their choice define you and start letting your response reclaim you. This isn't about holding onto anger or bitterness. It's not about revenge or resentment. It's about truth. It's about honoring the reality of what happened so you can protect the beauty of what's still yours. Your peace, your trust, your light. Mistakes can be forgiven because they're human. Intentional harm demands boundaries because it's betrayal. And boundaries aren't punishment, they're preservation. They're the line you draw to say, this far and no further. I see what you did, and I won't let it happen again. Moving forward with eyes open. The damage done by intentional harm is real. The scars it leaves are deep, but they don't have to own you. They don't have to dictate your story. When you understand the difference between a mistake and a deliberate wound, you give yourself permission to let go of what doesn't deserve your energy and hold tight to what does. You forgive the stumbles because they're part of being alive. You walk away from the strikes because they're a choice you don't have to accept. So take this truth and carry it with you. Not every hurt is the same. Some are accidents you can mend. Others are decisions you need to release. See them clearly, name them honestly, and choose yourself every time. Because while the damage done might linger, your power lies in what you do next. You're stronger than the shards they left behind. You're worth more than the pain they chose to give. And you're ready to step into a life where trust isn't a gamble. It's a gift you give wisely, protecting your peace. The power of saying no. There's a quiet strength in closing a door. A strength that doesn't shout or lash out, but stands firm, unshaken, rooted in the truth of who you are. When someone has intentionally hurt you, when they've made a choice to wound you with cold precision, the decision to deny them a second chance isn't about spite. It's not about holding a grudge or plotting revenge. No, it's something deeper, something more sacred. It's about protecting your peace, guarding your boundaries, and honoring the value of your own heart. This isn't bitterness dressed up as resolve. It's self-respect in its purest form. Today, we're going to unpack why this matters, why shielding yourself from those who've deliberately caused you pain is an act of courage, and how it becomes the foundation for a life where you thrive, unbroken and free. Let's step into this truth together. Beyond anger, the real reason to walk away. It's easy to mistake the choice to say no more as an act of anger. The world might tell you it's petty, that you're nursing a wound instead of letting it heal. But that's not what this is. When you refuse to let someone who intentionally harmed you back into your life, you're not clinging to rage, you're releasing it. You're stepping out of the shadow of their actions and into the light of your own worth. This isn't about punishing them, it's about preserving you. Think about it. Anger keeps you tethered to the person who hurt you. It chains you to the past, replaying the betrayal, the sting, the moment you realize they meant every bit of it. Revenge? That's just anger with a plan. It still gives them power over your thoughts, your energy, your time. But protecting yourself? That's different. That's a quiet, steady choice to say, I won't let this happen again. It's not about them anymore. It's about you. Your peace. Your heart. Your right to live without the weight of their choices dragging you down. When someone hurts you on purpose, they've shown you who they are. Not in a fleeting moment of weakness, but in a deliberate act of will. And once you see that, once you feel the depth of that truth, you owe it to yourself to act, not out of malice, but out of love. Love for the person you are, the person you're becoming, the person who deserves to walk through life without bracing for the next blow. Protecting yourself isn't hatred. It's the opposite. It's the ultimate act of care. The sacred space of your peace. Your peace is yours. It's the soft hum of a morning where you feel safe. The stillness of a night where your mind isn't racing with doubt. It's the space where you can breathe, dream, and simply be without the chaos of someone else's cruelty creeping in. But here's the thing about peace. It's fragile. It's precious. And when someone intentionally shatters it, they don't just disrupt a moment. They threaten the sanctuary you've built within yourself. Imagine your peace as a garden. You've tended it, nurtured it, pulled the weeds of worry and doubt to let it bloom. Then someone walks in, not by accident but with purpose, and tramples it. They don't trip over the flowers. They stomp on them, eyes wide open, knowing exactly what they're destroying. Now picture this. After they leave, they come back, asking to step into your garden again. Would you let them? Would you hand them the chance to crush what's left? To uproot the beauty you've fought to grow? Of course not. You'd lock the gate. You'd stand at the edge and say, not again. That's what protecting your peace looks like. It's not vengeance, it's vigilance. It's knowing that what you've cultivated inside yourself is too valuable to risk for someone who's already proven they don't respect it. Intentional harm doesn't just bruise the surface, it digs into the roots of your well-being. It leaves you questioning your safety, your instincts, your worth. And if you let that person back in, you're not just inviting them, you're inviting the chaos they bring. The sleepless nights, the second-guessing, the slow erosion of the calm you've worked so hard to reclaim. Protecting your peace means recognizing that you don't have to keep paying that price. It means choosing to guard your garden, to keep it a place where you can grow, not where you're forced to rebuild over and over again. Boundaries. The walls that set you free. Boundaries get a bad rap sometimes. People call them cold, rigid, unforgiving. But that's not what they are. Boundaries aren't walls to shut out the world. They're gates to let in what's good and keep out what's harmful. When you deny a second chance to someone who intentionally hurt you, you're not building a prison, you're drawing a line. A line that says, this is where my peace begins, and your chaos ends. It's not about being cruel, it's about being clear. Think of boundaries as the frame around a masterpiece. Without it, the edges blur, the colors bleed, and the beauty gets lost in the mess. Your life, your heart, your spirit is that masterpiece. And when someone crosses that frame with intent to harm, they don't just smudge the paint. They tear the canvas. Letting them back in without consequences is like handing them the brush to do it again. Boundaries protect the art of who you are. They say, I value this too much to let you ruin it. When you set a boundary with someone who's hurt you deliberately, you're not just protecting your peace, you're protecting your sense of self. You're telling them and yourself that your worth isn't negotiable, that your happiness isn't a bargaining chip they can toss around. People who harm with intent often thrive on testing limits. They push, they prod, they lean on your kindness, betting you'll bend. But a boundary stops that game cold. It's a declaration. I see what you did. I know what you chose. And I'm not playing anymore. That's not revenge. That's respect. Respect for the person you are and the life you deserve. The value of you, a non-negotiable truth. At the heart of protecting yourself is a simple, unshakable truth. You are valuable. Not because of what you do for others, not because of how much you forgive or endure, but because of who you are. Your worth isn't tied to someone else's ability to see it. It's inherent, woven into the fabric of your being. And when someone chooses to hurt you intentionally, they're not just attacking your feelings, they're challenging that worth. They're betting you'll forget it, that you'll shrink, that you'll let their actions redefine you. But here's where the power shifts. You don't have to let them. Protecting yourself is how you hold onto that value. It's how you remind yourself and the world that you're not here to be broken. Denying a second chance to someone who wounded you on purpose isn't about proving a point to them. It's about proving it to yourself. It's standing in front of the mirror and saying, I am enough. I deserve better. And I won't settle for less. Intentional harm leaves scars, yes. But those scars don't diminish you. They mark your strength. They're proof you survived something meant to tear you down. And when you choose not to let that person back in, you're not hiding those scars, you're honoring them. You're saying, this happened, but it doesn't own me. I'm still here, still whole, still worthy. That's not bitterness, that's bravery. It's the courage to claim your value when someone else tried to steal it. The lie of obligation. There's a lie we're often told. That protecting yourself is selfish. That giving second chances, no matter the cost, is noble. That forgiveness means opening the door again, even to those who hurt you with intent. But that's not true. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself, a release from the burden of their actions. It doesn't mean you owe them access to your life. It doesn't mean you have to risk your peace to prove you're good, or strong, or kind. Strength isn't in how much you can take. It's in knowing when to stop taking it. You don't owe anyone the chance to hurt you twice. Not your time, not your trust, not your heart. When someone shows you they're willing to wound you deliberately, they've forfeited their place in your world. Not because you're cruel, but because you're wise. Protecting yourself isn't a rejection of love. It's a commitment to it. It's loving yourself enough to say, I won't let this define me. I won't let this destroy me. And in that choice, you free yourself from the cycle of pain they tried to trap you in. The strength in the stand. So what does it look like to protect yourself? It's not loud or dramatic. It's not a fight or a showdown. It's a quiet resolve, a decision that lives in your bones. It's the moment you stop explaining, stop justifying, and simply say, no to the apologies that ring hollow. No to the promises that feel like smoke. No to the idea that you have to keep giving pieces of yourself to someone who's already taken too much. It's walking away, not with your head bowed, but with your chin high. It's closing the chapter, not with regret, but with relief. It's choosing your peace over their presence, your boundaries over their excuses, your value over their chaos. And in that choice, you find something unbreakable, your strength. Not the kind that endures endless pain, but the kind that says, I'm done with this. I'm worth more. Protecting yourself isn't about tearing them down. It's about building you up. It's about taking back the power they tried to claim and using it to create a life where you're safe, seen, and whole. It's not hatred. It's not revenge. It's the truest form of self-respect. A stand for the peace you deserve, the boundaries you need, and the value you'll never let anyone take away again. A life worth guarding. You only get one life, one heart, one chance to live in a way that feels true. Why spend it handing the keys to someone who's already crashed through your walls? Protecting yourself isn't the end of your story. It's the beginning. It's the moment you stop letting their choices write your chapters and start writing them yourself. Your peace is worth it. Your boundaries are worth it. You are worth it. So stand tall. Lock the gate. Draw the line. Not out of spite, but out of strength. Not to hurt them, but to heal you. Because when you protect yourself from those who intentionally harmed you, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. And that's a power no one can take away. The echoes of intentional harm, a wound that lingers. There's a moment after the hurt hits, a stillness where the air feels heavy, where the truth sinks in like a stone. Someone didn't just hurt you by accident. They chose it. They aimed for your heart and struck with purpose. And in that moment, the pain is sharp, immediate, undeniable. But here's the thing about intentional harm. It doesn't stop there. It's not a single cut you can bandage and forget. It's a wound that burrows deep, leaving scars that stretch far beyond the instant it was inflicted. It erodes your trust, chips away at your confidence, and dims your willingness to let anyone close again. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on this truth. How intentional harm doesn't just sting in the moment but echoes through your life, reshaping how you see yourself and the world. Let's walk through the wreckage it leaves behind and find the strength to rise above it. More than a moment, the lasting sting. Intentional harm isn't a fleeting storm that passes with the sunrise. It's a tremor that cracks the ground you stand on, sending aftershocks long after the initial blow. The act itself, the betrayal, the cruelty, the calculated strike, might happen in seconds, but its weight lingers. It's the late-night replay in your mind, the sudden ache when you remember their words, the shiver of doubt that creeps in when you least expect it. That's the first consequence. It doesn't let go easily. Picture a glass dropped on the floor. A mistake might nick it, a small flaw you can overlook. But intentional harm shatters it, splinters it into pieces that scatter wide. You can sweep up the shards, but you'll still find slivers days, weeks, even months later, cutting into you when you thought the mess was gone. That's what deliberate hurt does. It's not content to wound and walk away. It embeds itself, a splinter under your skin, a reminder that someone you trusted chose to break you. The pain isn't just physical or even emotional in the moment. It's existential. It's the realization that this wasn't a slip, a stumble, a human error. It was a decision. Someone looked at you, at your vulnerability, your openness, your light, and decided to dim it. That knowledge doesn't fade with time. It sits with you, heavy and unyielding, a shadow that follows you into quieter days. And that's where the real damage begins, not in the act, but in what it leaves behind. The erosion of trust, a foundation fractured. Trust is the bedrock of every connection. Friendship, love, even the casual bonds we form with strangers. It's the unspoken promise that says, I can let you in, and I'll be safe. Intentional harm doesn't just chip at that promise, it dynamites it. When someone you relied on chooses to hurt you, The trust you gave them doesn't just break. It crumbles, leaving a void where certainty used to be. And that void doesn't stay small. It grows, spreading cracks into every corner of your life. First, it's about them. You replay the moments you let your guard down, the times you believed they cared. You see their actions in a new light, the kindness that masked their intent, the smiles that hid their aim. The trust you had in them dissolves, replaced by a bitter clarity. They weren't who you thought they were. But it doesn't stop there. The fracture moves outward. You start to question others. Are they hiding something too? Will they turn on me when I least expect it? The world feels less safe, less predictable, less kind. And then there's the deepest cut. The trust you lose in yourself. You wonder how you didn't see it coming. How you missed the signs, ignored the whispers, let them close enough to wound you. I should have known, you tell yourself. I should have been smarter, stronger, less naive. That self-doubt is a silent thief, stealing the confidence you once had in your own judgment. Intentional harm doesn't just make you wary of others, it makes you wary of you. Plants a seed of hesitation, a fear that if you trust again, you'll fall into the same trap. That's its power. It doesn't just break one bond. It threatens every bond you'll ever build. The shattered mirror, confidence undermined. Your sense of self is a mirror, reflecting who you are, what you believe, how you move through the world. Intentional harm doesn't just crack that mirror, it shatters it, distorting the image you see. When someone chooses to hurt you, it's not just an attack on your feelings. It's an assault on your worth. They send a message, subtle or overt. You're not enough. Not to stop me. Not to deserve better. And even if you fight that message, even if you know it's a lie, it seeps in. It whispers in the quiet moments, gnawing at the edges of your confidence. You start to question yourself in ways you never did before. Why did they do this to me? Becomes, what did I do to let this happen? The blame shifts, insidious and unfair, from their choice to your shoulders. You wonder if you're too trusting, too weak, too blind. The strength you once felt, the assurance that you could navigate life with your head high, falters. Every scar from their harm becomes a mark you're tempted to read as failure. If I were better, you think, they wouldn't have dared. But that's the trap. Their decision wasn't about your worth, it was about their lack of it. Yet the damage lingers, convincing you otherwise. That loss of confidence doesn't just sit still, it ripples. It shows up in the way you shrink back from opportunities, the way you second-guess your voice, the way you hesitate to stand up for yourself. Intentional harm doesn't just wound your heart, it wounds your spirit. It dims the light you once carried, leaving you to wonder if you'll ever shine as brightly again. And that's the cruelest consequence. It makes you feel smaller even when you're not. The closed door, a reluctance to open up. We're wired for connection, to love, to share, to let others in. It's what makes us human. The courage to be vulnerable, to offer pieces of ourselves and trust they'll be held gently. But intentional harm slams that door shut, takes the joy of openness and replaces it with fear. After someone betrays you deliberately, vulnerability doesn't feel brave. It feels reckless. Why risk it again? Why let anyone close when closeness has proven it can cut so deep? That reluctance is a scar you don't always see. It's in the way you hold back, the way you guard your words, the way you build walls where windows used to be. You might still smile, still laugh, still move through the world. But there's a part of you that stays locked away. Part that says, not again. I won't let it happen twice. And while that instinct protects you, it also isolates you. Keeps you from the fullness of connection. The kind that heals, that lifts, that reminds you you're not alone. Intentional harm doesn't just steal your trust in others. It steals your trust in possibility. You start to see every new face as a potential threat. Every kind gesture as a prelude to pain. The openness you once had, the willingness to love, to believe, to hope, fades into caution. And that's its longest echo. It doesn't just change how you see the person who hurt you, it changes how you see everyone. It turns a heart that was once wide open into one that's half closed, braced for the next betrayal. The weight of the aftermath. The consequences of intentional harm aren't loud. They're subtle, persistent, pervasive. They're the doubts that linger when you meet someone new. The flinch when a kind word feels too good to be true. The quiet ache when you realize you don't trust your own instincts anymore. It's not just the pain of what happened. It's the labor of carrying it. The effort to rebuild trust, to piece your confidence back together, to coax your heart into opening again. That's the weight they leave you with, a burden you didn't ask for, but one you're forced to shoulder. And here's the hardest truth. They don't carry it. The person who hurt you walks away, free of the wreckage they caused, while you're left sifting through the debris. They don't feel the nights you lie awake, the moments you doubt your worth, the times you pull back from what could have been joy. That's the unfairness of it. Their choice becomes your struggle. But it doesn't have to be your story. Rising above the scars. The scars of intentional harm are real. They're deep, they're lasting, but they don't have to define you. They don't have to dictate your future. The trust they broke? You can rebuild it slowly, carefully, with people who prove they're worthy. The confidence they shook? You can reclaim it step by remembering your value isn't theirs to measure. The openness they stole? You can find it again, not by forcing it, but by choosing when and where it's safe to bloom. The aftermath of intentional harm is heavy, but your strength is heavier. It's in the way you keep going, the way you refuse to let their choice erase you. Those scars? They're not just wounds, they're battle marks. Proof you faced something cruel and came out the other side. Not unscathed, but unbroken. Not unscarred, but undeterred. The consequences are real, but so is your power to rise above them. So feel the weight, acknowledge the echo, but don't let it hold you down. Intentional harm leaves a mark, but it doesn't get the final word, you do. And that word is strength. That word is resilience. That word is you, standing tall, scarred but shining, ready to trust, to believe, to open up again. Not because you have to, but because you choose to, because you're worth it. And no one's deliberate hurt can take that away. Forgiveness without permission. The line between letting go and letting back in. There's a quiet power in forgiveness. A moment where you unclench your fists, release the weight, and breathe a little freer. It's a gift, a release, a way to unshackle yourself from the pain someone else chose to give you. But here's where the world gets it twisted. Forgiveness doesn't come with an invitation. It doesn't mean handing the person who hurt you the keys to your life again. It's not a free pass for them to step back in and repeat the damage. When someone has intentionally wounded you, forgiveness can set you free from resentment, but it doesn't mean you owe them a second chance. Today, we're diving into this truth. Forgiveness is for your liberation, not their redemption. It's about healing your heart, not reopening your door. Let's explore why this distinction matters, how it protects your peace, and why letting go doesn't mean letting them back. The true face of forgiveness. Forgiveness is a word that carries weight, sometimes too much. We're told it's noble, holy, the mark of a big heart. And it is, but it's also misunderstood. People paint it as a grand gesture, a moment where you wipe the slate clean and pretend the hurt never happened. That's not what it is. Forgiveness isn't erasure. It's not amnesia. It's not a promise to forget the scars or ignore the lessons they taught you. It's something simpler, yet infinitely harder. It's choosing to let go of the bitterness that binds you to the past. When someone hurts you intentionally, when they betray your trust, wield their words like weapons, or shatter your peace with purpose, the anger can feel like a lifeline. It's fuel, a fire that keeps you warm when the cold truth of their choice sinks in. But that fire burns you too. It keeps you tethered to them, locked in a cycle of resentment that weighs heavier with every passing day. Forgiveness is the moment you drop that chain, not for their sake, but for yours. It's saying, I won't let your actions poison my soul anymore. It's a gift you give yourself, a way to reclaim the energy they stole and turn it toward healing. But here's the catch. Forgiveness doesn't rewrite their story. It doesn't absolve them of accountability. It doesn't mean their choice was okay or that you're ready to trust them again. It's not about them. It's about you. It's about freeing your heart from the grip of their harm so you can move forward, lighter, stronger, whole. That's the beauty of it. It's yours to wield, yours to define, yours to claim without ever needing to look back. The myth of second chances. Somewhere along the way, forgiveness got tangled up with second chances. We're taught they're a package deal, that if you forgive, you must reconcile, you must rebuild, you must let them back in. It's a lie we've been sold, a myth that keeps us stuck. Because here's the truth. You can forgive someone and still say no. You can release the resentment and still lock the door. You can heal your heart and still keep them out of your life. When someone hurts you with intent, they've crossed a line that doesn't vanish with an apology or a promise. Their choice wasn't a mistake born of weakness. It was a deliberate act of will. And while forgiveness lets you shed the anger, it doesn't erase the reality of what they did. It doesn't change the fact that they showed you who they are, a person capable of wounding you on purpose. Why would you hand that person the chance to do it again? Why would you risk your peace, your trust, your light for someone who's already proven they don't value it? A second chance isn't an obligation. It's a choice. And it's a choice you're allowed to refuse. Forgiveness doesn't come with a contract that says, I release you, and now you're welcome back. It's not a green light for them to step over the boundary they shattered. It's a personal act, a private victory, a way to untangle yourself from their chaos without ever needing to invite it back in. The world might call that cold, but it's not. It's clarity. It's knowing the difference between letting go of pain and letting go of your power. The danger of conflating the two. Mixing forgiveness with second chances is a slippery slope, one that can pull you back into the very hurt you're trying to escape. When you let someone who intentionally harmed you back into your life under the guise of forgiveness, you're not just offering them a seat, you're handing them a weapon. You're betting on their change, their remorse, their ability to be different, when their actions have already shown you the odds. And that bet comes at a cost. Think about it. Intentional harm leaves scars. Deep, jagged marks on your trust, your confidence, your peace. Forgiveness helps you smooth those edges, helps you breathe without the ache. But letting them back in risks ripping those wounds wide open. It's like giving a vandal the keys to your home after they've trashed it, hoping they'll suddenly respect the walls they once tore down. People who hurt with intent don't always change. They often just refine their aim. And when you conflate forgiveness with a second chance, you're the one who pays the price. That price is your stability. It's the quiet nights you lose to wondering if they'll do it again. It's the trust you try to rebuild, only to watch it crumble at the first sign of their old ways. It's the energy you pour into hoping, waiting, praying for a version of them that may never exist. Forgiveness frees you from that cycle. Why step back into it? Why trade your liberation for their opportunity? You don't have to. You can forgive from a distance. You can heal without their shadow. You can let go without letting them back. Boundaries as an act of freedom. This is where boundaries come in, not as walls of spite, but as gates of grace. When you forgive someone without giving them a second chance, you're drawing a line that says, I release this pain, but I protect this space. It's not about punishing them, it's about preserving you. Boundaries aren't the opposite of forgiveness. They're its partner. They let you hold onto the freedom you've fought for, ensuring that your healing isn't undone by their return. Imagine your life as a sanctuary, a place you've built with care, where your peace can flourish. Forgiveness sweeps out the debris of their harm, clears the air, lets the light back in. But boundaries? They guard the entrance. They say, this is mine, and not everyone gets to walk through. When someone has hurt you intentionally, they've shown they don't respect that sanctuary. Why let them back in to trample it again? Forgiveness doesn't demand that sacrifice. It doesn't ask you to risk your sacred space for their sake. It asks you to rise above, not to bend below. Those boundaries are your strength. They're the proof that forgiveness isn't weakness, it's power. Power to say, I've let go of the hate, but I haven't let go of myself. Power to heal without handing over your trust. Power to move forward without dragging their baggage behind you. That's what forgiveness with boundaries looks like. A heart unburdened, a life unbroken, a soul unshaken. The strength to forgive, the wisdom to walk away. There's a quiet courage in forgiving someone who's hurt you on purpose. It takes guts to look at their choice, feel the sting, and still choose to release it. But there's a deeper wisdom in knowing that forgiveness doesn't mean reconciliation. It's the wisdom to see that your peace is worth more than their presence, that your healing doesn't need their approval, that your worth isn't tied to their return. When you forgive without giving a second chance, you're not being hard-hearted, you're being wholehearted. You're choosing yourself in a way that's raw, real, and revolutionary. You're saying, I can let this go, but I won't let you back. That's not a contradiction. It's a balance between grace and grit, between mercy and might. It's the strength to rise above their harm and the wisdom to keep your distance from their chaos. And here's the beauty of it. That choice sets you free twice. First, from the resentment that binds you to them. Second, from the risk of reliving their pain. You get to walk away, not with anger, but with clarity. Not with regret, but with resolve. You get to build a life where forgiveness is your victory, not their permission slip. A life where you're not defined by what they did, but by what you chose to heal, to protect, to thrive. Letting go without looking back. Forgiveness is a door you open for yourself, a way out of the darkness they pulled you into. But it's not a revolving door. You don't have to let them follow you through. When someone has intentionally hurt you, their place in your story can end the moment you forgive them. You don't owe them a sequel. You don't owe them a chance to rewrite the ending. Your forgiveness is complete without their presence. It's yours, not theirs. So let go. Release the resentment. Drop the weight. But don't look back. Don't crack the door. Don't blur the line between setting yourself free and setting them up to hurt you again. Forgiveness is your liberation. It doesn't need their footsteps to prove it. It's the quiet power of saying, I'm done with this pain, and I'm done with you in it. It's the courage to heal on your terms, the wisdom to guard your peace, the strength to walk forward alone. You can forgive them from the other side of the boundary. You can wish them well from a distance. You can let go of the hurt without letting go of your standards. Because forgiveness isn't about them. It's about you. And you deserve a life where letting go doesn't mean letting back in. You deserve a peace that's yours alone. A heart that's free. A future that's bright. That's the gift of forgiveness without permission. Claim it. Live it. And never let anyone convince you it's less than enough. Boundaries as self-respect. The strength to say no more. There's a moment when you realize your worth isn't up for debate. A moment when you stop bending, stop excusing, and start standing firm. It's the moment you draw a line, not out of anger, but out of honor for yourself. When someone has intentionally hurt you, denying them a second chance isn't petty or cruel. It's a boundary, a bold declaration of self-respect. It's your way of saying, I won't accept this. I won't let you do it again. My value isn't negotiable. Today, we're diving into why boundaries matter, how they reflect the strength of your self-worth, and why refusing to let a deliberate wound repeat itself is one of the most powerful choices you'll ever make. This isn't about shutting out the world. It's about guarding your soul. Let's step into that power together. The heart of a boundary. Boundaries aren't walls built from spite. They're not cold or rigid or meant to punish. They're acts of clarity. Lines in the sand that mark where your peace begins and their chaos ends. When someone chooses to hurt you with intent, they don't just cross a line, they trample it. They show you, in stark relief, that your trust, your feelings, your light don't weigh enough to stop them. And in that moment, a boundary becomes more than a choice. It becomes a necessity. It's the shield you raise to say, not again, not here, not me. Think of your life as a sacred space. A garden you've tended, a home you've built, a sanctuary where you can be fully yourself. When someone harms you deliberately, they've stormed that space, leaving footprints on what you hold dear. A boundary isn't about locking them out forever. It's about locking in your worth. It's the gate you close to protect what's yours, to ensure that no one who's proven they'll wound you gets the chance to do it twice. That's not weakness, it's wisdom. That's not bitterness, it's self-respect. Refusing a second chance to someone who hurt you on purpose is a boundary in action. It's the tangible proof that you see their choice for what it was, not a slip, not a stumble, but a calculated strike. And by saying no, you're not just rejecting their behavior, you're affirming your value. You're telling them, and yourself, that you deserve better than their harm, better than their excuses, better than a cycle of pain dressed up as redemption. The message of self-worth. At its core, a boundary is a mirror. It reflects how you see yourself. When you let someone back into your life after they've intentionally wounded you, you're sending a message. My peace can be disrupted. My trust can be broken. My worth can be compromised. It's a quiet surrender, a signal that their actions, no matter how cruel, don't carry enough weight to change their place in your world. But when you set a boundary, when you say, no more, you flip that script. You declare, I am enough. My peace is precious. My value is non-negotiable. That declaration isn't just for them. It's for you. Every time you let someone cross your boundaries without consequence, you chip away at your own self-respect. You teach yourself that your needs don't matter, that your feelings can be trampled, that your worth is flexible. But when you hold firm, when you refuse to let their harm repeat, you reinforce the truth. You are not a doormat. You are not a punching bag. You are a person with a heart that deserves care, a spirit that deserves safety, a life that deserves joy. Intentional harm tests that truth. It dares you to shrink, to doubt, to settle. A boundary is your answer, a resounding no to the idea that you're less than you are. It's the strength to look at their choice and say, you don't get to define me. You don't get to diminish me. I respect myself too much to let you try again. That's the power of self-worth in action. Not a fleeting feeling, but a lived reality, carved into the choices you make. Accountability, not access. Boundaries aren't just about protection, they're about accountability. When someone hurts you with intent, they've made a bet that their actions won't cost them anything, that you'll forgive, forget, and let them back in without a price. They count on your kindness, your patience, your willingness to see the good in them. But a boundary shifts the balance. It says, your choice has consequences. You don't get to hurt me and keep your place in my life. That's not cruelty, that's justice. It's holding them to the weight of what they did, refusing to let them skate by on empty apologies or half-hearted promises. People who harm deliberately often thrive on the belief that their behavior will be excused, that they can push and push without losing ground. A boundary stops that cold. It's a clear signal. This isn't acceptable. This isn't negotiable. You crossed a line, and I'm not erasing it for you. Denying a second chance isn't about revenge. It's about reality. It's about making sure they feel the ripple of their decision, just as you felt the sting of their harm. It's not your job to fix them, to teach them, to wait for them to change. It's your job to protect yourself, and a boundary does that by keeping them accountable, not by keeping them close. They don't get access to you just because they say they're sorry. Words are cheap. Actions speak. And their actions already told you everything you need to know. The strength in standing firm. Setting a boundary takes guts. It's not the easy road. The easy road is saying yes, yes to the apology, yes to the hope, yes to the chance they might be different. It's letting them back in because it's comfortable, familiar, less confrontational. But strength isn't in the easy choice, it's in the hard one. It's in the moment you look at someone who hurt you and say, no, not again. I'm worth more than this. That no isn't loud or dramatic. It's quiet, steady, unshakable. It's the resolve to walk away when they plead, to close the door when they knock, to hold your ground when they push. It's the courage to face the guilt, the doubt, the what-ifs, and still choose yourself. Because that's what a boundary is, a choice. A choice to honor your worth over their wants, your peace over their presence, your self-respect over their excuses. And here's the thing. That choice doesn't just protect you, it empowers you. Every time you enforce a boundary, you remind yourself of your strength. You prove that you're not a victim of their harm, you're a survivor of it. You show the world, and your own heart, that you're not here to be broken, that you're not afraid to stand tall, that you're willing to fight for the life you deserve. That's self-respect in its rawest form. Not a feeling you chase, but a truth you live. The non-negotiable you. Your value isn't a bargaining chip. It's not something you trade for approval, for love, for the hope of change. It's a constant, a fire that burns steady, no matter who tries to douse it. Intentional harm challenges that fire. It tests whether you'll let it flicker, whether you'll dim it to fit someone else's shadow. A boundary is your refusal to let that happen. It's your way of saying, my worth isn't up for grabs. You don't get to hurt me and keep me. I'm not that small. When you deny a second chance to someone who wounded you on purpose, you're not just setting a boundary, you're setting a standard. You're telling them, and anyone who comes after, that your life isn't a free-for-all, that your heart isn't a revolving door, that your value isn't something they can negotiate down. It's a powerful stance, a declaration that echoes beyond the moment. I respect myself too much to let you disrespect me again. That standard isn't selfish. It's sacred. It's the foundation of a life where you're not defined by what others do to you, but by what you demand for yourself. It's the root of relationships that lift you up, not tear you down. It's the seed of a peace that's yours, unshaken by those who'd try to steal it. Your value isn't theirs to question, it's yours to uphold. And a boundary is how you do it. The freedom beyond the line. Boundaries don't trap you, they free you. They're not chains that bind you to the past. They're wings that lift you above it. When you refuse to give a second chance to someone who hurt you intentionally, you're not closing yourself off, you're opening yourself up. Up to a life where you're not waiting for the next blow. Up to a world where your worth isn't on trial. Up to a future where you're surrounded by people who see you, respect you, cherish you, not because you demand it, but because you've shown it's who you are. That freedom comes from self-respect. It's the quiet joy of knowing you didn't settle, didn't shrink, didn't let their harm rewrite your story. It's the strength of walking away, not with regret, but with relief. It's the peace of living on your terms, guarded by boundaries that say, I'm worth this, I deserve this, I am this. So draw the line, hold it firm, let it be the mirror of your self-respect, the shield of your value, the voice of your strength. Denying a second chance isn't about them, it's about you. It's about refusing to let their choice diminish you. It's about standing tall and saying, I won't accept harm. I won't negotiate my worth. I am enough. And you are. More than enough. Always. The cost of opening the door and the strength of closing it. There's a choice that sits heavy in your hands. A choice that feels like a crossroads between what was and what could be. Someone hurt you not by accident, but by design. They chose to wound you, to break your trust, to shatter your peace. And now they're back, knocking at the door of your life, asking for another chance. It's tempting to let them in, to believe the apologies, to hope for change, to cling to the familiar. But here's the truth that cuts through the noise. Letting them back comes at a cost, a steep one, paid in your pain, your trust, your healing. And the alternative? Walking away, letting go. It's not weakness. It's the strongest thing you'll ever do. It's choosing yourself, breaking the cycle, and stepping into a life that's yours to reclaim. Today, we're diving deep into the price of opening that door again and the power of closing it for good. This is about your peace, your worth, and the strength that waits on the other side of surrender. Let's walk through it together. The cost of letting them back. A cycle that deepens. When someone has intentionally hurt you, their choice leaves a mark, a jagged scar on the fabric of your life. It's not a shallow scratch you can brush off. It's a tear that runs deep, fraying the edges of your trust, your confidence, your sense of safety. Forgiveness might soften that scar, might help you let go of the bitterness, but letting them back in? That's a different story. That's not healing. It's handing them the scissors to cut again. And every time you do, the damage doesn't stay the same, it grows. It digs deeper, pulling you into a cycle of pain that's harder to escape with each turn. Imagine a wound, fresh, raw, stinging. You wouldn't leave it open to the air, exposed to dirt and harm. You'd cover it, protect it, give it time to mend. Now picture letting the person who inflicted that wound back into your life. It's like peeling off the bandage before it's healed, letting them press on it, tear it wider, make it bleed anew. That's the first cost, repeated harm. Intentional hurt isn't a one-time event when you give them access again. It's a pattern. They've shown you they're capable of it, willing to do it, unbothered by the fallout. Why would it stop? People who harm with intent don't often change without consequences. They refine their aim, waiting for the next moment to strike. And you're left nursing a wound that never gets the chance to close. But it's not just the pain that repeats. It's the toll it takes. Every time they hurt you again, it chips away at what's left of your trust. Not just in them, but in everyone. The cracks spread, subtle at first, then undeniable. You start to wonder if anyone can be relied on, if every smile hides a blade, if every kindness is a prelude to betrayal. That's the second cost, eroded trust. You can't rebuild it while they're still in your orbit, proving your fears right. The foundation you once stood on, solid, steady, crumbles a little more with each betrayal, leaving you unsteady, unsure, unmoored. And then there's your self-worth. Letting them back sends a message to them, to the world, to yourself, that your value can be trampled and still welcome the trampler. It's a quiet surrender, a slow erosion of the confidence you once carried. You start to ask, why do they keep doing this? Am I not enough to stop it? The blame shifts, unfair and insidious, from their choice to your shoulders. That's the third cost, diminished self-esteem. Every second chance you give becomes a question mark over your head. A doubt that whispers you're not worth protecting, not worth respecting, not worth better. It's a lie, but it feels true when you're stuck in the cycle, watching them prove it again and again. The final cost? Healing. You can't mend what's broken while the breaker is still in your life. Healing needs space, distance to breathe, time to reflect, room to grow. Letting them back traps you in survival mode, always on edge, always waiting for the next hit. It's not peace. It's a holding pattern, a limbo where you're too busy dodging their harm to rebuild your strength. The wound stays open, the scars multiply, and the chance to move forward slips further away. That's the price of letting them back. A prolonged cycle of pain, a fractured trust, a shaken self-worth, and a healing delayed. It's too high a cost for anyone to pay, especially you. The weight of staying, a life on hold. Let's paint the picture clearer. You let them back in. Maybe it's out of hope that they've changed, that they see your worth, that this time will be different. Maybe it's fear of being alone, of starting over, of losing what you once had. Whatever the reason, the door swings open and they step inside. First, it might feel okay. The apologies soothe, the promises shine, the familiarity comforts. But then it happens, a word, a look, an echo of the old harm. And the cycle spins again. You're not living anymore, you're surviving. Every day becomes a tightrope walk, balancing between the hope they'll be better and the dread they won't. You're on guard, scanning for signs, bracing for impact. The trust you try to rebuild is fragile, a house of cards waiting for their next breath to knock it down. Your self-worth takes hit after hit, as their actions whisper, "You're not enough to stop me." And healing? It's a distant dream, pushed aside by the effort of managing their presence. You're stuck, tethered to the very pain you're trying to escape, pouring energy into a relationship that drains you dry. That's the hidden cost, time. Every moment you spend giving them another chance is a moment stolen from the life you could be living. It's a delay in finding peace, in rediscovering joy, in surrounding yourself with people who lift you up instead of tearing you down. You're not just giving them access to your present, you're giving them your future, handing over days, weeks, months to a cycle that keeps you small. And the longer you stay, the heavier it gets. The cracks in your trust widen. The dents in your confidence deepen. The hope for healing fades. You deserve more than that. You deserve a life that doesn't cost you your soul. The strength in letting go, a bold beginning. But there's another path, a harder one, a braver one, a stronger one. It's the path of letting go. Walking away from someone who hurt you isn't giving up. It's stepping up. It's not weakness dressed as retreat. It's strength woven into resolve. When you close the door on someone who intentionally wounded you, you're not running from the fight, you're choosing the battlefield. You're saying, "I won't let this define me. I won't let this destroy me. I'm worth more than this pain." That's not surrender, that's victory. Letting go feels heavy at first. It's a weight of its own, the weight of endings, of silence, of the unknown. You're carrying a backpack stuffed with memories, promises, what-ifs. It slows your steps, pulls at your shoulders, whispers that turning back might be easier. But here's the secret. That weight isn't yours to keep. There's their choices, their harm, their burden. Walking away is taking off that pack, setting it down and stepping forward free. It's not forgetting the lessons those stones taught you. It's refusing to carry them any longer. That act takes courage. It's not the loud, flashy kind. It's the quiet, steady kind that lives in your bones. It's the courage to face the guilt. What if I'm wrong? And keep going. The courage to silence the doubt. What if they change? And trust yourself instead. The courage to step into the unfamiliar, to let go of what's known, to believe that better waits ahead. Walking away isn't weakness. It's one of the most powerful choices you'll ever make. It's a declaration of your worth, a commitment to your peace, a refusal to settle for less than you deserve. Choosing yourself, the power shift. Strength isn't in enduring pain forever. It's in ending it. When you let go of someone who hurt you, you're not just closing a chapter. You're rewriting the story. You're shifting the power from their hands to yours. They don't get to keep hurting you. They don't get to keep breaking you. They don't get to keep you small. You take that control back. Not with anger, not with revenge, but with a simple, unshakable choice. I choose me. That choice opens doors they kept shut. It's the chance for a life unburdened by their chaos. A life where your trust can heal, your confidence can grow, your heart can breathe. Letting go isn't losing, it's gaining. Gaining space to rediscover who you are outside their shadow. Gaining time to build relationships that honor you, not harm you. Gaining peace that doesn't waver with their whims. You're not walking away from love or hope. You're walking toward it, toward a version that doesn't cut, a trust that doesn't break, a joy that doesn't fade. And that's where the strength shines. It's in the daily choice to honor yourself, to set boundaries that protect your energy, to surround yourself with people who see your worth, to refuse anything less than you deserve. Letting go doesn't mean you're giving up on them. It means you're giving yourself the chance to rise. It's saying, I am worthy of more than this hurt. It's the first step toward a life where you're not defined by their actions, but by your own. A life full, free, and fiercely yours. The ripple of release. When you let go, the weight doesn't lift all at once. It's a slow unraveling, a shedding of layers you didn't know you carried. The pain that once roared quiets to a hum. The trust you lost begins to mend, not overnight, but in moments. Moments of kindness from others, moments of stillness within yourself. The confidence they shook steadies, built anew on the truth of your resilience. And the healing? It starts not as a race, but as a journey, one step at a time, away from their harm and toward your wholeness. You'll see it in the mirror one day, the strength that carried you here. It's not in the absence of scars, but in the way you wear them, not as wounds, but as badges. Proof you faced their choice and chose yourself instead. Proof you didn't let their harm hold you hostage. Proof you had the power to let go. Not because it was easy, but because it was right. That's the ripple of release. A life where you're not just surviving, but thriving, not just existing, but shining. A future unchained. The cost of letting them back is a chain, a tether to pain, doubt, and delay. The strength of letting go is the key that breaks it. You don't have to live under the weight of their choices. You don't have to pay the price of their harm. You can walk away, not with your head bowed, but with your spirit high. You can close the door not with regret, but with resolve. You can choose yourself not because you're selfish, but because you're sacred. The road ahead isn't free of shadows, but it's yours. It's filled with possibilities. Growth, peace, love that doesn't hurt. Letting go isn't an end. It's a beginning. A beginning where you're not dragging their baggage, not dodging their blows, not waiting for their change. A beginning where you're free to be you, fully, fiercely, fearlessly. That's the strength of letting go. It's not in holding on to what breaks you, but in releasing it for what builds you. So take that step. Drop the weight. Close the door. Not out of weakness, but out of power. Not out of fear, but out of faith. Faith in yourself, in your worth, in the life you're meant to live. The cost of letting them back is too high. The strength of letting go is too great. Choose the strength. choose you, and watch the world open up to the person you've always been. Strong, whole, and ready for more. Moving forward and choosing yourself. A life reclaimed. There's a moment when the fog clears. A moment when you see the path ahead, not as a continuation of the pain behind you, but as a wide-open space, brimming with possibility. Someone hurt you, deliberately, with cold intent, and for too long, their shadow loomed over your days. But now you stand at a threshold. Closing the door on them isn't just an end. It's an opening, a gateway to growth, joy, and relationships that lift you up instead of tearing you down. It's a reclaiming of your strength, your peace, your light. And in that act of closing, there's a deeper truth. Choosing yourself, refusing to return to the one who wounded you, is the highest form of self-respect. It's the unshakable affirmation of your value, the foundation for a future free from the ghosts of past hurt. Today, we're stepping into this journey together, exploring the power of moving forward and the courage of choosing you. This is about your life, your worth, and the beauty that waits when you claim them both. Let's begin. Choosing to move forward, closing the door, opening the space. Life is a series of doors. Some you open with hope, some you close with resolve. When someone has intentionally harmed you, that door they walked through becomes a portal to pain. It's the entry point for betrayal, for broken trust, for the quiet ache that lingers long after their words or actions fade. Keeping it open, letting them back in, keeps you tethered to that hurt, a prisoner to a cycle that dims your light. But closing it, that's different. That's not shutting out the world. It's shutting out the chaos. It's not locking yourself away. It's unlocking your potential. Imagine your heart as a room, a sacred space filled with dreams, resilience, and the soft glow of who you are. When someone hurts you on purpose, they storm that room, scattering debris, dimming the light, leaving cracks in the walls. Letting them stay or return means living amid the wreckage, tiptoeing around the mess, trying to rebuild while they're still there to break it again. Closing the door doesn't erase the damage, but it clears the space. It sweeps out their influence, their shadow, their power to wound you more. And in that clearing, something extraordinary happens. You make room for growth. Growth doesn't thrive in chaos. It needs air, light, quiet, conditions that can't exist while you're dodging the next blow or nursing the last one. When you close the door on the person who harmed you, you're not just saying no to them, you're saying yes to yourself. Yes to the chance to heal, to stretch, to become more than the pain they tried to pin on you. It's the first step toward a life where you're not defined by their choice, but by your own. A life where you can plant new seeds, watch them bloom, and stand taller than you ever thought possible. That space isn't just for growth. It's for joy. Joy can't coexist with constant betrayal. It's drowned out by the noise of their harm, buried under the weight of their presence. But when you shut them out, you turn down that noise. You lift that weight. You open the windows of your soul to let in laughter, lightness, moments of pure, unshadowed happiness. It's not instant. It's a process, but it starts with that closing. It starts with the courage to say, I deserve a life where joy isn't a guest, but a resident. And then there's the promise of relationships. Real ones, positive ones, ones that don't cut. Keeping the door open to someone who hurt you keeps you locked in a pattern, wary of everyone, hesitant to trust. Closing it breaks that pattern. It frees you to seek connections that nurture, not destroy. Friends who see your worth, partners who honor your heart, people who build you up instead of breaking you down. It's not about replacing the past. It's about rewriting the future, surrounding yourself with those who reflect the value you're learning to claim. That's the power of moving forward. Closing the door on harm opens the space for growth, joy, and love that doesn't hurt. It's the beginning of taking back your strength, your peace, your life. The weight of the past. Why staying holds you back. Before we go further, let's look at what happens when you don't close that door, when you let them linger, when you give them another chance. Intentional harm isn't a one-off. It's a blueprint. Someone who chose to wound you once has shown you their colors, their capacity, their disregard. Letting them back doesn't reset the clock. It picks up where they left off. The pain doesn't vanish, it deepens. The trust you try to rebuild crumbles faster. The peace you crave slips further away. Staying or returning keeps you in a holding cell. You're not moving forward. You're circling, trapped in a loop of hope and hurt. Every day is a gamble. Will they change, or will they strike again? You're on edge, waiting, watching, pouring energy into a relationship that drains you dry. Growth stalls because you're too busy surviving. Joy fades because you're too guarded to feel it. Relationships falter because you're too wounded to open up. That's the cost of an open door. A life on pause, a spirit on hold, a future delayed by the past. And it's not just about them, it's about you. Every time you let them back, you send yourself a message. My peace can wait. My worth can bend. My healing can take a back seat. It's a quiet erosion, a slow surrender of the space you deserve. The longer you stay, the harder it gets to see beyond their shadow, to believe in a life without their weight. That's why closing the door matters, not just to keep them out, but to let you out. Out of the cage they built into the freedom you're meant for. The strength of moving on, a reclamation. Moving forward isn't running away, it's running toward. It's not a retreat from the fight. It's a reclaiming of the battlefield. When you close the door on someone who hurt you, you're not hiding, you're rising. You're taking the strength they tried to steal and turning it into something unbreakable. It's not easy. It's not clean. It's a messy, beautiful, gut-wrenching act of courage. But it's yours. And in that act, you find the power to rebuild, to rediscover, to reclaim what's always been within you. That strength starts with a choice to let go of what weighs you down. Picture it. A heavy chain, forged by their harm, wrapped around your ankles. Every step with them drags you back, slows you down, keeps you tethered. Closing the door is breaking that chain, not with force but with will. It's saying, I won't carry this anymore. I won't let your choice hold me here. And when that chain falls, you don't just walk, you soar. You move forward, not burdened by their past, but lifted by your present. That forward motion restores your peace. Peace isn't loud. It's subtle, steady. A quiet hum that grows as you distance yourself from their chaos. It's in the mornings you wake without dread. The nights you sleep without replaying their words. The days you live without bracing for their next move. Closing the door doesn't erase the hurt overnight, but it gives you the stillness to heal it. It's the calm after the storm, the space where your soul can breathe again, untainted by their shadow. That's strength. Not in enduring their presence, but in embracing your absence from it. And as you move forward, you take back your power. Power they tried to claim with every wound they inflicted. Power you reclaim with every step you take away from them. It's in the way you grow stronger, wiser, more yourself. It's in the way you find joy, unforced, unshaken, yours. It's in the way you build relationships rooted in trust, not fear. Moving forward isn't just leaving them behind. It's lifting yourself up, proving that their harm didn't break you. It forged you. Choosing yourself, the highest act of self-respect. At the heart of moving forward is a deeper truth. Choosing yourself. Refusing to return to someone who hurt you isn't petty or spiteful. It's profound. It's the highest form of self-respect, a bold, unapologetic affirmation of your value. When you say no to their return, you're saying yes to your worth. You're declaring that your life isn't a revolving door for those who wound you, that your heart isn't a testing ground for their change, that your future isn't a canvas for their chaos. It's a stand for you. Self-respect isn't a gift someone gives you. It's a fire you stoke within. Intentional harm tries to douse that fire, to make you doubt your light, to convince you you're less than you are. Letting them back fans that doubt, keeps it burning, lets it spread. But choosing yourself? That's the spark that reignites you. It's the moment you look at their choice and say, you don't get to define me. You don't get to diminish me. I respect myself too much to let you try again. That's not arrogance, it's clarity. That's not selfishness, it's strength. That choice sets a foundation, a bedrock for a future unhaunted by past pain. Every time you refuse to return to them, you're laying a brick in that foundation. A brick of dignity, of value, of unwavering belief in yourself. It's a future where you're not looking over your shoulder, not waiting for their shadow to fall, not wondering if you're enough. It's a future where you know you are because you've proven it not to them but to you. Choosing yourself isn't just an act. It's a legacy, a gift you give the person you're becoming. The courage of no. Saying no takes guts. It's not the easy road. The easy road is yes, yes to the familiar, yes to the hope, yes to the illusion of what could be. No is harder. It's the courage to face the silence, to walk into the unknown, to trust that you're enough without them. It's the courage to ignore the pleas, the promises, the guilt trips, and hold firm. It's the courage to look at the past, the good mixed with the bad, and still choose the future. That no isn't loud. It's quiet, resolute, final. It's the door closing with a soft click, not a slam. It's the head held high, not bowed. It's the heart that beats steady, not racing. But don't mistake its quietness for weakness. It's power distilled. Power to say, I deserve better than your harm. Power to say, my value isn't up for debate. Power to say, I choose me every time. That's self-respect in its rawest, truest form. Not a feeling you chase, but a truth you live. The freedom of the forward path. When you choose yourself and move forward, the world shifts. The weight of their harm doesn't vanish. It lightens layer by layer, step by step. The peace you reclaim grows roots, anchoring you in a life that's yours. The strength you find isn't fleeting. It's foundational, a steady pulse that carries you on. The joy you rediscover isn't fragile. It's fierce, a flame they can't touch. And the relationships you build, they're not shadows of the past. They're beacons of the future, lit by trust, respect, and love that doesn't wound. That freedom isn't free. It's earned. Earned by the courage to close the door. Earned by the resolve to choose yourself. Earned by the strength to move forward, not because it's easy, but because it's right. It's a freedom that says, I'm not my pain. I'm not their choice. I'm me, whole, worthy, and ready for more. It's a life unhaunted, unshackled, unafraid. A life where you're not just surviving, but soaring. A future worth claiming. Closing the door on harm and choosing yourself isn't an end. It's a dawn. A dawn where growth isn't stunted by their shadow, where joy isn't tempered by their presence, where relationships aren't tainted by their past. It's a dawn where your strength shines, your peace settles, your value stands tall. You're not walking away from something, you're walking toward everything. Everything you deserve, everything you are, everything you've always been beneath their hurt. So close that door. Choose yourself. Move forward, not with regret, but with relief. Not with doubt, but with dignity. Not with fear, but with faith. Faith in your worth, your power, your future. The space you open is yours to fill with growth, with joy, with love that doesn't break. The self-respect you claim is yours to keep, a foundation no one can shake. This is your moment, your life, your light. Step into it. You've earned it. You are it. This is your story now, a story not written by the hands that hurt you, but by the heart that chose to rise above. Closing the door on someone who intentionally wounded you isn't just an act of endings. It's an act of beginnings. It's the moment you turn the page, step into the light, and claim the space that's always been yours. A space for growth where you stretch beyond the limits they tried to set. A space for joy, where your laughter echoes without their shadow to mute it. A space for relationships that see you, honor you, and remind you of the strength you carry. That's the power of moving forward, not a fleeing from the past, but a forging of the future. And at the center of it all is you choosing yourself, the highest act of self-respect. It's not a quiet whisper. It's a bold shout, a refusal to let their harm define your worth. You're not here to be broken, to be diminished, to be haunted. You're here to stand tall, to shine bright, to build a life that reflects the value you've always held. Every no you say to them is a yes to you, a yes to peace, to dignity, to a future unburdened by their pain. This isn't just survival, it's triumph. It's the dawn of you, breaking free from the night they tried to trap you in, stepping into a day that's yours to shape. So take that step, close that door, Choose yourself, not because it's easy, but because it's true. Let the past fall away. Let the hurt fade. Let your strength rise. You are not what they did to you, you are what you do next. And what you do next is live. Fully, fiercely, freely. This is your moment. This is your life. This is you, whole, worthy, and ready for everything that comes when you honor the truth of who you are. And to every one of you watching right now, thank you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for being here with me, for walking this journey through every word, every moment, every truth we've uncovered together on ZenLight 8. If you've made it this far, you've given me something precious. Your time, your attention, your trust. That means more than I can say. This channel is about light, your light. And I hope today's message has sparked something in you. Something that reminds you of your strength, your value, your power to choose a life that lifts you up. You're not just viewers. You're part of this space, this community, this movement toward peace and self-respect. If this resonated with you, if it stirred something in your soul, please hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe if you haven't already. I'd love to have you along for more. Your presence here fuels this work, and I'm so grateful for every single one of you. Until next time, keep choosing yourself, keep moving forward, and keep shining. You've got this. Thank you, ZenLight 8 family. See you soon.